Hello, my beautiful Cancer family. It feels so good to sit down with your energy. I have to say, it really does because I feel at home with you all. I feel very embraced here. Um, and I love the energy for you this month. September is so nice. It's a breath of fresh air after about 3 months of eclipses and retrogrades and big shakeups, transformation, just a lot of intense energy pulling at us in different ways. September is this great directional energy. Virgo season is beautiful for Cancers. Third house communicative energy. We have Mercury going into your third house. In Virgo at the very beginning of the month. We have Saturn going direct in your opposite sign of Capricorn, which is going to feel really good. By the time September starts, Mars will be direct in Capricorn, your opposing sign. A lot of relief there from the pressure that has been put on you as far as that seventh house relational energy for Cancer, which I think you probably were feeling pretty profoundly July and August. It could have shaken you up a little bit because the note that I have for you, the first word that came up when I thought of Cancer was flow. Flow and breathe. The placements for you this month are so supportive of Cancer. Like, I just got chills as I was saying that, because we have Venus going into Scorpio on the 9th, and that Scorpio, that is such beautiful energy for you. I mean, Venus in Scorpio is pretty intense and deep and profound and evocative, but for Cancers, that placement is just very supportive of your heart, your creativity. We have a new moon in Virgo on the 9th as well. Wow, the 9th is a powerful day, isn't it? That third house energy, that communicative energy, how you're communicating yourself. And then as we move toward the end of the month, we're starting to get into air energy, right? Mars goes forward into Aquarius at this point. Libra season begins. We're getting that infusion of air, which for you, you're starting to now look at your reputation in the world, your internal spaces. It's always a good time to kind of incorporate. At the end of the month, we have an Aries full moon, which is your 10th house of, the star popped right out, Cancer. I'm so excited for you guys. Starting good. September 24th, we have a full moon in Aries, your 10th house of your reputation in the world, what you're doing in the world, really illuminating that, giving you a lot of energy. 6 of Wands, whoa, Cancer. What was I saying about flowing and breathing? Flowing and breathing. You're getting good cards. Getting good energy. There's a lot of really self-assured good energy here. Pluto goes direct in Capricorn as well at the end of the month. You can see how these placements are very supportive of you, specifically Cancer, and are generally very gentle, very lulling and soft. And like I said, after all those shakeups for the last couple of months, I think you really need this. But one of the things that happens when we have a lot of shakeups, where we have a lot of transition, transformation, a lot of shift, a lot of moving things around, when we come back into a time of quiet, and these can be small phases, right? 3 or 4 months at a time, 2 months at a time, 1 month at a time, where you have a lot of shakeup. Coming back into the quiet flow can kind of take a moment. It's kind of like when you've been out with friends for a whole day, Hierophant, or working, wow, you guys, or working a really long day, and you come home, you can't just get into bed and fall asleep. I know I can't. There's like that unwinding period, right, where you just take an hour and you put on your pajamas and you take a breath and you're like, okay. It's kind of that. September kind of has that feeling for Cancer, where it's a time to take a breath and remember that there is, you guys are immense creators. You get in there and you do so much in your lives. Like, I haven't seen anything like it. Cancers, you guys just go for it. Wow. 9 of Wands, Justice fell out. And I think sometimes you get a little bit addicted to the go, 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 right? And then to get back into trust mode, to get back into actually a skill set you have quite naturally, which is this intuitive guidance, this watery ability to connect in, like you have it. But because you guys have that cardinal energy, because you have that focused vision of moving forward. Getting back into the flow mode sometimes takes a moment, right? So the first week of this month, you might be kind of like spooked. Actually, I had a really good story, 4 of Cups. Speaking of flow mode, I feel like 4 of Cups is the big reminder of that, always, always, always. I was walking down the street, and I have my Venus in Cancer, so I feel like in some ways I really live life a little bit like a Cancer at times, especially when it comes to my heart and how I love. And I was walking down the street just like wanting answers today. I was just like, this was just a couple days ago. Just like I was like, why don't I know everything? And I swear, I could not get away from the word flow. It was just showing up in ads everywhere. And maybe that's just because it's a cultural touchstone at the moment, but it was a big reminder. Let's see what we have. Oh, 10 of Cups and the Lovers came out. I love seeing that, you guys. This is so beautiful. Okay, let's stop there. Bottom of the deck was 4 of Wands, so why don't we just leave that out? Let's stop there. So, the thing with September is that I love Virgo into Libra season. I think this is such a beautiful time of year. It's a transitional time of year. We're all feeling it no matter northern, southern hemisphere. We are feeling the transition. And we are assessing. And with Virgo season being the mutable sign of moving into fall in the northern hemisphere and then spring in the southern, is that we are dealing with embodiment and how we are embodying the next phase. And there's a lot of power in that. There's a lot of clarity in that. Mercury goes home to Virgo right at the beginning of the month, and then we have this beautiful Venus and Scorpio placement, and this new moon and this full moon. They're all just like flow, 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 flow. It's a very quiet month to be able to do the showing up. Virgo's all about showing up and doing the embodiment, right? And it can be a little alarming after an eclipse season and after a ton of retrogrades and after a time where things were just getting constantly tossed up in the air. What do you do with it? Well, Cancer, I have to say, what you do with it is you thrive. Now, the big thing for Cancer this month is that you will thrive. You have so much positive energy here with you. I mean, look at this. The Star, the 6 of Wands, Hierophant, and then the 9 of Wands. But here's the key here. This is such a perfect little window of the first half of the month and a little reminder as well. Because we have these first 3 cards, right? No argument here. This is just so good. This is so good for making fresh commitments, to feeling triumphant, to feeling like you've locked down that business deal you wanted, that relationship you wanted, that commitment, which I think Cancers, you guys so appreciate people showing up at the same depth and level that you do. And not everybody can do it, right? And so it's hard for people to keep up with Cancers. It's very hard to keep up with you moon children because you have the ability to show up, not only literally practically get things done using that cardinal energy, but also on the spiritual soul level, you connect in very quickly. But what I'm seeing here is commitment, is getting those commitments, is getting those green lights, those golden opportunities, is getting, that client roster set up, is getting that promotion at work, is getting that proposal even. I mean, honestly, it's that kind of energy where it's like, oh, we're doing things. We're making things happen. No question. Here we go. Let's do it. Let's make it happen. It's there. It's there, my Cancers, and these are all just such good cards. We have the evolution, the expansion of star energy, right? We have the victory of pushing through maybe a very dark or heavy time or confusing, foggy time for you into the clear light of day in September. We have the Hierophant, which is all about, grounded tradition, utilizing the earth and our bodies and what we have in this world to create something. You've got the full, multifaceted energy here of like showing up and doing some stuff, right? And all of this energy is around you. It's hanging out with you. It wants to be with you. It wants to show up. And what I always say with the Star is an amazing card, right? It's this lucky, benefic card. And when it comes up, people are like, oh, it lifts the whole energy of the reading. Star will always ask you a couple of things. To be completely in faith mode and to expand past what you can see and know right now into the next thing. It's a transformational energy that does not want to hear about why you want to stay the same, right? So there is something about the way that this benevolent energy shows up in your life, in that it's not going to come in the form you maybe have been planning on since, I don't know, April, May. You might have had an idea of where you wanted to be in September previously and thought, okay, this is what's going to happen. And then you get to September and there's been all these shakeups and you still kind of have this idea. And it's easy to get into this wary mode, right? And that's what this Nine of Wands is telling me. It's a little bit of a clue. It's a key to reminding you that it will be very tempting to be the wounded warrior, right? The world-weary warrior, the warrior that has seen some things and is now like, okay, I know what can happen if I just trust and relax. I know what can happen, so no thank you. I'm not going to trust anymore, right? I'll get burnt. I'll drown. When the Nine of Wands shows up, this tells me when you sense that you're getting into this resistant mode, take a breath. Take a breath. Because where the good stuff will come in is when you are trusting. You know, Cancers, I want to tell you, like, you are a sign that I can honestly say I think you can trust yourselves. You have the intuitive gift. You have the in-tap gift. And you also have the ability to initiate and go for things. You're not helpless. And you can trust yourself. You can trust in your value. And you can trust that things will continue to evolve. Things never stay the same. So there's just a reminder there that you may feel nervous. You may be an opportunity come in and you will feel nervous. Like, if I say yes to this, it could blow up in my face. If I say yes to this expansion, it could get really scary. I may not be able to keep up. I mean, that's the other side of this. You may have things showing up for you and you're like, wait a second. Am I really ready for this abundance, for this good stuff? Maybe I'm not. Maybe I should say no. Maybe I should stay hidden. Maybe I should go hide under a blanket and not come back out because this is what I wanted, but I'm not ready for it, right? There's a couple of ways that this can really manifest for Cancers because there's so much flow for you this month. It might feel a little alarming, quite honestly, after a time of mixed energies, right? But when we look at the second half of the month, we go into a new moon in Virgo, a beautiful time, Cancers, for thinking about how you want to express yourself, how you want to share yourself to the external world, a beautiful point to check in with that, check in with your mission statement in your life and how you want to live your life, and how you want to grow and bloom that over the next half of the month. And that next half of the month has a lot of romance in it, my goodness. And I know I say this a lot for you guys, it's that you guys have such deeply loving energy. I think you do tend to, when I'm doing these general readings, these collective readings, you do tend to pull up this beautiful, loving energy, partnership energy, because you have that innately in you, you know? Justice, Four of Cups, Ten of Cups, the Lovers, and the Four of Wands. I'm telling you, know, the number of commitment cards in this reading is kind of blowing my mind because the first three, all deeply tied to commitment, right? To positive growth development. Justice, partnership. Ten of Cups, partnership. The Lovers, a partnership. Four of Wands, partnership. I mean, and of course in the midst we have Four of Cups. Now, this is one other side that I will say about September. The energy is just really subtle in September. It is not here to ruffle feathers, generally speaking. And it's kind of quiet. It's a time to really take stock. And it's a time to really listen in. And for you, intuitively, you have good things coming in. And one of the things when you have a lot of the abundance of the opportunities, the options, you always want to check in. Is it feeling in flow? Is it feeling in flow? Does it feel easy? Because I have a feeling that you may have things coming at you that are exciting, maybe even like, ooh, I could do this, but maybe feel a little overwhelming. Maybe don't feel in the flow. And you want to kind of pay attention where things feel in the flow, where things feel like they're easy, where you don't have to play a role, where you don't have to pick up the slack for somebody else or a situation, right? I don't really see that happening too much, but because there's so much abundance here and we have so many cards that are like, here we are, let's do this, like that energy directed at you and that energy pouring out from you, you always kind of want to manage it very thoughtfully for yourself. But I tell you what, maybe some of you have a Libra in your life. Maybe some of you have a Taurus in your life. These are all interesting choices for Cancer. Maybe you have an Aquarius in your life. I don't know. But what I will say about justice is this is fair and balanced. I mean, I think justice, I think of flow actually, because this is about looking at something. Yes, it's about partnership. Yes, it's about being relational. But it's also about being able to look at something and make a really clear, crisp judgment call on it serving you or not. There's a decision-making factor that comes into the Justice card. So what I'm kind of seeing here is that there is a fork in the road, my lovelies. There is a fork in the road, and there is a choice to be made between what feels in the flow and what feels like you are paddling upstream unnecessarily. And that's here in the Justice and Four of Cups. This may kind of develop over the course of the month, where you start with all this energy coming at you, a lot of promise and new hope and big words being spoken, and then you have to sit for a minute and check in with how authentic that feels to you. And it may be a little bit tricky to totally feel that out initially. So this is where you're going to want to use that intuitive sense that you naturally have and check in with the flow, right? Now, what I see from that bit of time, like the new moon area of the month there, the middle of the month, what I see coming from that, if you take the time to do that, and you take the time to breathe and to not get into wounded warrior mode, because this will not give you correct information, ever. It never does. Wounded warrior gives very odd alternative storylines that don't always make sense, so keep that in mind. But what comes out of relaxing, going with the flow, not worrying so much that there isn't a whole bunch of fireworks and drama, is this beautiful thing here on the other side, right? And this is what we want for the Cancer family. We want the supportive connection, right? We want you to feel connected and loved and seen and appreciated at the same level as you bring. Yes, this is romantic. Yes, this is about meeting somebody. Yes, this is about taking a relationship to the next level, big time. Now, that doesn't have to be just romantic. These energies here are so beautiful for developing new work partnerships, developing a new relationship with where you live. Creative endeavors are extremely supported by this. This is about deep friendship, deep caring, deep connection to other. And that's one of the things I will say here about this month, and the majority of the cards being about commitment or relational energy. A lot of where you're going to be getting your strength and your clarity from, and that feeling of flow, is from the people who love you the most. And those relationships look like they are flourishing and growing and building into this beautiful bouquet of love and connection. I really see that. I'm tempted to just pull one final card here to close out this session, because I think you guys have this. I just think you have it. Whatever it is that you came out of this eclipse season with questions about, which I think a lot of you, it's the end of August as I'm filming this, you're just like, what the heck just happened to my life? Like, even if it wasn't super dramatic, you were left with a lot of questions. September is like, here's your answer. Here, you have an answer. It's okay. We're going to be good. We're going to be great. Five of Pentacles came out. Okay, so this is really interesting. I think part of the reason this card came out is because of what I was just saying, which is this whole thing, you come out of sometimes these times of ruffled feathers or just big questions coming to the surface, right? Even a lack of faith, even a worry that the flow will never come back. The Five of Pentacles speaks to that, right? It's that fear that you'll always be locked down. Maybe you felt out of the flow. Maybe you felt that you were far away from your intuitive core and you can't use it anymore because it just hasn't been the same for a little while. Don't feed into this, right? Once again, you can be an impartial observer to these moments where you hit into these little patches of worry or fear, you know, because like I said, there's a quiet flow going on this month. It can actually trigger some of this worry energy more than when there's a lot of drama going on in the external. If it's kind of quiet and there's a lot of simplicity and people are offering things up and connections are being made and things are moving along, that can honestly trigger our wounded warrior and our fear-based mind more than when things are kind of messy. So one thing to kind of look out for is, you know, you can self-sabotage with this energy. You can believe you're not worthy and cut yourself off, right? You can kind of get in your head and use a lot of energy unnecessarily in the worry. So, you know, your big assignment this month is to self-trust, trust your intuition again, trust the process again, because what is showing up is there for you. What you can trust what is showing up here. And we talk about trust a lot because I think you guys have such a depth of feeling. And it's funny because you naturally have trust, but then in the course of Cancer's lives, that trust gets mangled a little bit. And you can kind of find yourself suddenly feeling a lack of it, something that is so natural to you. And that can feel really alarming and even a little bit despairing at times because you wonder who you even are anymore, right? So look for that, right? Because the energy is there to support you in a very calm and collected manner. I love you guys, and I'm really excited about this. I mean, this is the good stuff. And when the good stuff shows up, this is when we as vibrational beings are learning in the field how to accept that abundance and how to stay in alignment with our divine source and not let it ruffle us up too much. And it's funny because you'd think that just getting the good stuff that you've wanted will keep you calm. It a lot of times creates this fear, right? That it will disappear or that we never really deserved it. And you do deserve it. I love you guys so much. Please jump on over to Instagram and follow me there at the Sarah Tarot. I would love to see you guys there. Also, you can check out my website and my email for private sessions. I'll leave all that info in the description box, so please get in touch with me. I'd love to hear from you. And I'm also, of course, wearing my lovely Tiffany at PinkLune's jewelry. She's giving you 15% off, so I will leave her website below and the promo code, so check her out. I will see you guys in October. Hang in there. Enjoy. No, I don't even have to say hang in there. You guys are doing great. Truly, the vibe is so good for Cancer. It's funny that we even have to have a conversation about this, the worry and fear mind, but it never hurts. It never hurts to have a little check-in, right? And it never hurts to be an impartial observer to all the parts of ourselves, including those parts that don't feel worthy. It's okay. Accepting them gives worthiness to all of it. So I love you guys so much, and I will see you in October.